The WWE Universe is in absolute chaos right now, and if you haven't heard what happened on SmackDown, you need to buckle up because this situation is spiraling out of control faster than anyone could have predicted. Before we dive into this madness, please hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell so you don't miss a single moment of the most insane highlights in wrestling. Trust me, you're going to want to stay updated on this one. So here's what went down, and I'm telling you, the fallout from this is going to reshape everything we thought we knew about the current WWE landscape. During what was supposed to be a standard match on SmackDown, we witnessed one of the most brutal, gut-wrenching injuries that has sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling world. And the responses from Rhea Ripley, Adam Pearce, and Nick Aldis? They're not just concerning, they're downright explosive. Let me set the scene for you. The energy in the arena was electric, fans were on their feet, and everything seemed to be going according to plan. The superstars were putting on an absolute clinic in that ring, delivering the kind of hard-hitting action that SmackDown has become famous for. But then, in a split second, everything changed. One move, one mistimed moment, one devastating impact, and suddenly the entire atmosphere shifted from excitement to pure dread. You could hear a pin drop in that arena as medical personnel rushed to the ring, and let me tell you, the look on everyone's faces told you this wasn't your typical wrestling injury that gets played up for drama. This was real, this was serious, and this was scary. Now, what makes this situation even more intense is the complete radio silence that initially followed. WWE went into damage control mode immediately, cutting to commercial break, rearranging the rest of the show on the fly, and keeping information locked down tighter than Fort Knox. But in today's age of social media, you can't keep anything quiet for long, and the wrestling community absolutely exploded with speculation, concern, and demands for answers. Twitter was on fire, Reddit threads were multiplying by the second, and everyone from casual fans to industry insiders were trying to piece together what actually happened and how severe the injury really was. Then came the responses, and honestly, they might be even more shocking than the injury itself. Let's start with Rhea Ripley, because her reaction has sent the internet into an absolute frenzy. The Eradicator, known for her intimidating presence and no-nonsense attitude, broke her silence with a post that was equal parts emotional and furious. She didn't hold back, and that's what makes this so compelling. Rhea addressed the injury head-on, expressing genuine concern for her fellow superstar while also calling out the circumstances that led to this moment. Her words carried weight, they carried anger, and they carried a sense of responsibility that you don't always see from superstars when something goes wrong. What's particularly interesting about Rhea's response is that she didn't just offer thoughts and prayers like so many corporate statements do. She got specific, she got real, and she pointed fingers at things that need to change. Whether she was talking about the grueling schedule that WWE superstars maintain, the pressure to constantly push the envelope with more dangerous spots, or the overall safety protocols that might need re-evaluation, Rhea made it clear that this isn't just an isolated incident that we should sweep under the rug and move on from. This is a symptom of larger issues that the wrestling industry needs to confront, and her willingness to speak up about it has earned her massive respect from the wrestling community. But here's where things get even more complicated. Adam Pearce, the SmackDown general manager and WWE official, issued his own statement, and the tone was completely different. Pearce, always the company man, always trying to maintain order and protect WWE's interests, took a more diplomatic approach. He acknowledged the severity of the injury, expressed support for the injured superstar, and assured everyone that WWE has the best medical team in the business and that all proper protocols were followed. On the surface, it's exactly what you'd expect from someone in his position. But if you read between the lines, if you listen to the carefully chosen words in the corporate speak, there's a defensiveness there that suggests WWE is preparing for some serious scrutiny. Pearce emphasized that accidents happen in professional wrestling, that these superstars know the risks when they step between those ropes, and that WWE does everything in its power to protect their performers. All of that is technically true, but it also feels like a preemptive strike against criticism that's inevitably coming. The wrestling world has been having ongoing conversations about performer safety, about the physical toll that this business takes on human bodies, and about whether enough is being done to protect these athletes who put their bodies on the line for our entertainment. This injury has reignited all of those debates, and Pearce's response seems designed to get ahead of the narrative before it spins completely out of WWE's control. Then we have Nick Aldis, and his response might be the most intriguing of all. Aldis, who has experience both as a performer and now as an authority figure in WWE, took a middle ground approach that somehow managed to validate concerns while also defending the business he loves. He talked about the passion that drives wrestlers to perform at the highest level, the split-second decisions that have to be made in the heat of competition, and the unfortunate reality that injuries are an inherent part of this industry. But he also acknowledged that the wrestling world needs to constantly evaluate and improve safety measures, that nothing should be off the table when it comes to protecting performers, and that this incident should serve as a catalyst for important conversations. What makes Aldis's statement so interesting is that he's essentially straddling two worlds. He's part of WWE management, which means he has to toe the company line to some degree, but he's also not that far removed from his in-ring career, which means he understands the performer's perspective in a visceral way. His response reflects the duality, showing empathy and understanding while also trying to reassure fans that WWE takes these matters seriously and will learn from this incident. Whether that satisfies critics remains to be seen, but at least it comes across as more genuine than typical corporate damage control. Now, let's talk about what this means moving forward, because the implications of this injury and these responses extend far beyond just one unfortunate incident. First and foremost, there's the question of how this affects current storylines. WWE has become incredibly skilled at adapting on the fly when injuries occur, but depending on the severity and recovery timeline, this could force some major creative pivots. Championships might need to change hands, feuds might need to be put on hold or reworked entirely, and other superstars might get opportunities they weren't originally slated for. That's the nature of the business, but it doesn't make it any less disruptive. Beyond the immediate creative implications, there's the larger question of whether this serves as a wake-up call for WWE and the wrestling industry as a whole. We've seen this pattern before. A serious injury occurs, everyone talks about safety and making changes, there's heightened awareness for a few weeks or months, and then gradually everything returns to normal until the next injury happens. The cycle repeats, and while WWE has made significant improvements over the years in terms of medical care, concussion protocols, and overall performer wellness, there's always room for improvement. The question is whether this injury will actually lead to meaningful changes or if it becomes just another unfortunate moment in wrestling history. There's also the fan perspective to consider, and this is where things get really complex. Wrestling fans are a passionate, opinionated bunch, and we want to see incredible, death-defying action when we tune into shows. We pop for high spots, we lose our minds for crazy bumps, and we expect superstars to constantly raise the bar and deliver moments we've never seen before. But at what cost? When does our desire for entertainment cross the line into putting performers in unnecessary danger? It's an uncomfortable question that doesn't have an easy answer, but it's one worth asking in moments like this. The responses from Ripley, Pearce, and Aldis reflect different aspects of this tension. Ripley represents the performer's voice, calling for change and demanding that their well-being be prioritized. Pearce represents the corporate voice, defending existing practices while acknowledging concern. Aldis represents the bridge between those two worlds, understanding both perspectives and trying to find common ground. All three responses are valid in their own way, and all three highlight just how complicated these situations can be. As more information comes out about the injury, the recovery timeline, and any potential changes WWE might implement, you can bet the wrestling world will be watching closely. This isn't just about one injured superstar, as important as that individual's well-being is. This is about the broader conversation surrounding safety in professional wrestling, the responsibilities that companies have to their performers, and the role that fans play in either demanding change or accepting the status quo. The fact that Rhea Ripley, Adam Pearce, and Nick Aldis all felt compelled to respond publicly tells you everything you need to know about how significant this moment is. They didn't have to say anything. They could have let WWE's official statement handle things and stayed quiet. But they chose to add their voices to the conversation, and that matters. Whether you agree with what they said or not, whether you think WWE is doing enough or needs to do more, at least we're having the conversation. What happens next will determine whether this becomes a turning point or just another chapter in wrestling's complicated history with performer safety. Will WWE implement new safety measures? Will superstars feel empowered to speak up about dangerous situations? Will fans adjust their expectations about what kind of action they demand? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, the